So I know that my last video was about the Republican Party's national platform, and it would only be fair that given that the DNC is going on right now, I should try and look at what the Democrats have to call for the next 4 years of our country. However, I kind of wanted to make this video about an issue that I don't feel that we've been getting enough coverage of in the American press, an issue that's actually pretty important in the world today. On August 10th, about 3 weeks ago, miners at a platinum mine in northern South Africa decided to go on strike to protest what they felt were really low wages. You see, they were getting paid $485 a month, and they were calling for wages of $1,500 a month, a pretty significant increase. Police were put on the scene in order to prevent the miners from getting too rowdy, but disputes broke out between the strike and the police. Indeed, 10 people were killed, 2 of which being police officers. The police tried to then disarm the miners, claiming that some of them had machetes and even had actual firearms. When the police tried to keep the miners contained in a small area and give up their weapons, things got really ugly really quickly. On August 16th, what actually happened isn't exactly fully clear. The police have been trying to coerce the miners using rubber bullets and tear gas, but the methods weren't working and the disputes were only growing bigger. That's when people on the scene claimed that the miners actually fired some shots in the area, and the police responded in full force. They fired into the crowd, killing 34 people, the biggest violence in South Africa since 1960. The aftermath of the event is really eye-opening for the way that the South African legal system works. 270 of the protesters were arrested for murder on the grounds that they incited violence, which led to the killing of the 34 strikers. As of today, no policeman has yet been tried or convicted, but officials do say that there will be an internal investigation shortly. Understanding the legal system in place that would put strikers on trial for murdering other strikers is really challenging, but it in turn points to a larger issue at hand here. Now, with metal miners or oil men or other natural resource gatherers in South Africa and the rest of Africa, the biggest problem that they face is one of poor governance. You see, the world has seen a sharp rise in the value of commodities like oil and gold and platinum over the past few years, in large part because of a shaky economy and also because of rising demand from countries like China and India. Now, naturally, the money should be going into better pay and better government services for the African citizens who work these mines and fields, but unfortunately, that isn't always the case. Corruption and pocket lining still reign king in Africa, where it is all too easy for local officials to demand bribes as part of the regular business process when working with multinational mining corporations. Even worse cases are in the nationalized companies that don't have to report any of their internal transactions because their jurisdiction lies with the country that actually runs the company. It's really frightening to corruption watchdog groups, and worse, to financial investors who could potentially pay for better wages for the miners when they hear talks like, for example, in South Africa where the national ruling party has been discussing recently some of the nationalization of the mines there. It can be really hard here in the United States to remember the importance of the labor movement. We all celebrate Labor Day and enjoy our minimum wage and our child labor laws, but the fights that those people fought seem like a long ago distant memory, nothing that really affects us now. However, around the world, people still struggle and die to reap the fair value of their work. Ben Franklin once said that sunlight is the best disinfectant. If that's the case, then African governments need to conduct a better, brighter business, or the only business at hand will be when to bury the dead and convict the living.